All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Giancarlo and Max Gunther will be on the front row. Nick Sorensen, Andrew Lau have the second row. Yuho and Harry Volsmir on the third row. Mike Dalling, Dylan Steinbach have the fourth row. Rudolph Gunther and Zach Bache rounding out your top 10. Ryan McDaniel starting in 11th. Cale Evian in 12th. And Brian Hewitt rounding out the 13-car field this morning at Suzuka. All the drivers getting lined up on the grid. Take a quick look at the track temperature. As we've noted, it's been coming up. It has come up another degree, now up to 75 degrees. Race 1, a 20-minute sprint. Race 2, the 50-minute endurance race. These drivers will have to make a fuel stop during that one. Will we see tire changes here this morning? It has been hit and miss which races the drivers change tires at all season long. The Porsche pace car leads them around. Giancarlo in control of the start. I highly doubt the Porsche safety car is going to have any problems here this morning like we saw at Daytona yesterday. Pace car is in. Here they go. Giancarlo has fired. They are away. Green flag is in the air at Suzuka. A lot of battling mid-pack. Will everybody make it through that first turn? Everybody survives to start moving up through the S's. Harry Volsmir already on the attack in the Ferrari. Max Gunther staying within striking distance of Giancarlo. Meanwhile, Sorensen trying to find some momentum here. Again, Yuho said that first couple of laps that Lambo would push, but then it'll have some grip. Expect to see him moving forward. We've got a car off track. It looks like Mike Dalling. There's Mike. Oh, Harry just comes for the apex. Doesn't realize Mike is there. Mike cuts down into the grass, goes around. Does get the car recovered. And gets it rolling again. Mike, though, now having slipped back into 13th as Ryan McDaniel has had a problem. There's Ryan in that big yellow student driver car. Brian Hewitt side by side. Looks like McDaniel was trying to avoid contact, missed his braking point. He does eventually get the car recovered. Giancarlo continuing to lead with Max Gunther not far behind. Brian Hewitt has gone to pit road early. Did he take damage? Was there contact? It didn't look like there was any contact between him and Ryan, but apparently there was, and he is in for repairs. Yuho in third. Sorensen now up into fourth. Andrew Lau, the points leader, has drifted back to fifth. Harry still holds on to sixth. Dylan Steinbach in seventh. Zach Bache has been the surprise of the season, up to eighth place. Looks like the dirt racer has figured out how to go road racing. Rudolph Gunther in ninth. Rookie Cale Evian currently runs in 10th. Max Gunther is able to keep Giancarlo in the picture at the moment. Yuho losing ground in third. And Nick Sorensen has had a problem and gone to pit road. There's Sorensen in the Porsche, just gets a little bit of the apron, and goes off through the grass into the safety barrier. Meanwhile, Yuho has found the grip in that Lambo and is starting to make some moves. Just set the fastest lap of the morning. Andrew Lau sits back in fourth, the points leader. And third in points, Adam Barker is not here this morning. Second in points, Nick Sorensen, after that problem, is way back in 12th. Giancarlo came into the morning fourth in points. He currently has the lead. Andrew Lau has got to start attacking, get up there and give Giancarlo a run for his money this morning. Hey, good morning, Andrew Forrester, and good luck in the GT4 race. Hey, good morning, Richie. How are you, buddy? Yuho has started closing the gap on the top two. Giancarlo just set the fastest lap last time by. Max Gunther still rides in second, but Yuho is closing the gap. Lau still staying not far behind, but now Harry, the lone Ferrari in the field, is now up into fifth. Dylan Steinbach in sixth. Zach Bache now up into seventh. Rudolph Gunther in eighth. The rookie Cale Evian in ninth, and the Minister of Defense, Mike Doling, now up into 10th. Harry Volsmir has had a problem. Harry in that Ferrari comes into that hairpin, just gets on the gas and the back end steps out, pulls a 360, gets rolling again. But not before the leader gets by and puts, I do believe that put Harry a lap down. No, I'm sorry. That was Zach Beige that went by with Rudolph Gunther. Zach in a car that looks very much like Giancarlo's this morning. And Harry has had another problem. Harry trying to regain the ground he had lost, just comes out of that final turn. It snaps loose on him again onto pit road. He did end up towing. Good morning, Jared. No Nicole this morning. Giancarlo in the lead by 1.5 seconds over Max. Yuto was gaining ground on Max Gunther, but has now drifted back almost 3 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Andrew Lau is cranking it up in 4th. He is gaining some ground. Dylan Steinbach in the Mercedes currently sitting in 5th. Zach Beige has now moved up into 6th. Rudolph Gunther currently sitting in 7th. Mike Dolling in 8th. The rookie Cale Evian in 9th. And Nick Sorensen currently in 10th. I have to agree with you on that, Jared. I wish Nicole, that's what she said, Kriesel was here. And once again, we just need to point out Ryan McDaniel driving that bright yellow student driver car that at least gave everybody a warning to give him plenty of room. Boy, that Mercedes does sound mean. Mike Marshall also not here this morning. He is actually at the 24 Hours of Daytona. Dylan Steinbach in the Mercedes has had a problem. There's Dylan coming up through the S as the back end just snaps out on him. He manages to get it backed up off track. Lets everybody get by, gets rolling again, but lost several positions. Race 1 of the morning has been eventful. Don't forget this morning, not 1, not 2, but 3 races this morning. We have the second GT3 NSS race after this, back here at Suzuka with the top 7 inverted. And then Home Motorsports GT4 League, our first time broadcasting them and our first time broadcasting a GT4 League. That promises to be an exciting, exciting race. Johnny Salata cheering on Zach Beige in that Echelon Sim Sport car, who is now up into 5th. Zach has been on a tear in recent weeks. He is now up to 9th in points, despite missing the first week of the season. Not far behind Mike Dolling in points and ahead of him on track at the moment. Giancarlo has continued to extend his lead, though, over Max Gunther, now almost 3.5 seconds. Yuho still hanging about 2.6 seconds back, and Andrew Lau right behind Yuho is hanging it all out. Andrew, the points leader, coming into this morning, he is, he is just sending it here. Johnny, I have to say, for Zach being a dirt guy, he has excelled in the road racing. Been pretty proud of him myself. Because I saw him back when he first started doing road racing. He has come a long way. Rudolph Gunther is closing in on Zach just a little bit at the moment, about 1 second back. Johnny, I used to broadcast his dirt league, and at that point, he just kind of didn't want to race road at all. Every time he tried it, it went badly. Rudolph Gunther in 6th, having a great run considering he is still jet lagged. Went straight from the plane to the car. Dylan Steinbach, despite earlier problems, in 7th. Same with Mike Dolling. Dolling now up into 8th and on the attack. The BMW will definitely have the advantage up through the S's, as Dolling looks for somewhere to make a move on the Mercedes. Dolling looks like he is setting up for the run, just can't get there through the kink. Now he may have the run out of the turn. BMW to the inside, but into the hairpin. Looks like the BMW was able to get back on power quicker. Mike Dolling now to 7th. The newcomer, Cale Evian, currently in 9th place, up 3 from where he started. Giancarlo, Andrew Lau, Max Gunther have all had brief off tracks. Let's see what has happened. Was it significant or was it minor? Giancarlo just sends it a little wide through the sand. Andrew Lau, the points leader, we saw him hanging it all on the edge, trying to get around Yuho, just swings wide. And Max Gunther in 2nd place, just a little too far. Oh, he almost lost it. Manages to hold on to it. Even the top 3 here this morning struggling with the track and the limits. Yep, I definitely agree, Johnny. Hey, good morning, Mark Dantuma. Rudolph Gunther now just a half second behind Zach Bache. Meanwhile, back in 7th, Mike Dolling has pulled a gap on Dylan Steinbach. Nick Sorensen, who came into the morning second in points, has lost a lot of ground, now back in 10th after his early incident into the safer barrier. Meanwhile, Giancarlo has continued to extend his lead as the white flag flies. Max Gunther now 4.2 seconds back. Yuho has closed into 1.5 seconds and still has Lau right on the bumper. Will Yuho be able to run down Max Gunther and hold off Andrew Lau? Mark Dantuma cheering on Nick Sorensen here this morning. Max Gunther in second, definitely watching that mirror closely. And keep an eye on Lau right behind Yuho. Lau has been hanging it all out. That car has been on the edge of crashing multiple times this morning. He has given it everything it's got. Johnny, Giancarlo is always flying. In fact, looking through the lap time, Giancarlo is the only driver in the race that has turned a lap under the 2-minute mark. 1:59.9 was his fastest lap. The battle is still on for third. They are not gaining any ground on second place. Giancarlo comes out of the chicane through the final turn. And Giancarlo will win at Suzuka. Max will come home in second, and Yuho holds him off to finish third. Now they do have that 5-minute warm-up, giving us just enough time. Nick Sorensen, Ryan McDaniel both had problems early. Sorensen ends in 10th. Ryan finished in 11th. Hey, good morning, Tina. Let's see if we can talk to our top three, starting with Yuho. Yuho, everybody kind of questioned you driving the Lamborghini this morning, but you definitely showed them it was the right choice.
Yeah, thanks. It's a good car, and I got the baseline on it. It's very, very stable. So they've done something right on the Lambo side, because usually, previously, it tried to kill you the first 2 laps, but now it's actually quite stable and nice.
Well, it definitely paid off, and I heard you talking about it before the race. After that first 2 laps, it really starts to come in and has grip. And after that first 2 laps, your lap times were extremely fast and consistent.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good race, but Andrew really did try to push me the last, I think, 3-4 laps. But, you just turn off your rear mirrors and enjoy the ride on this track.
Turning off your rear mirrors was probably a good idea because, man, he was hanging it all out trying to get past you.
Yeah, he was.
Man, a great job. Another podium. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks.
Yuho comes home in third. Max Gunther coming home in second. Max, you're back in the car and back on the podium. Another great run today.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, Giancarlo was really fast again, so nothing you can do about that.
Is there anything you can do to keep him behind you in race 2?
Well, it's a really tough track to pass. Actually, I don't know if I can keep him behind me, because I need to keep the car on the track also. Yeah.
It seemed like everybody was struggling. Even you and Giancarlo had off tracks at points. The track limits definitely tight here this morning.
Yeah, the track limits are tight and it's quite slippery. Yeah, and the tires are gone really fast. At least that feels like it.
So will we see tire changes in race 2, or will it be fuel only stops?
I guess there will be some tire changes. Just don't know yet if I take 2 or 4. It's still, I don't know. Depends.
Well, we will
See how it goes.
We'll keep an eye on that for sure, man. A great finish. Congrats, Max.
Thanks, Doug.
And finally, our winner, who will now have to start in 7th place for race 2. Giancarlo, another race, another win, actually.
Yeah, it was kind of like previously. Make sure you get lap 1 down, and then just stay consistent.
We're 5 weeks into the season, and you already have 6 wins. Obviously, missing Hockenheim hurt a little bit, but you've had 2 sweeps so far at Daytona and at Charlotte. Will you be able to pull off a 3rd sweep here today?
We'll see. Suzuka is it's a lot of tire wear. It's very hard to pass here. I don't know. I don't know, but we'll do our best.
Speaking of tire wear, asked Max, and likely to see some tire changes out there. Did you check your tire wear, and will you be making a tire change during this race?
Yeah, I'd still to be determined, to be honest. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing a tire change or not. We'll see. Maybe it'll depend on what others are doing, whether we go for it.
Well, great job in race 1. Looking forward to seeing if you can pull off your 3rd sweep of the season. Congratulations, Giancarlo.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, Giancarlo wins race 1. Now the top 7 will invert, so Giancarlo will be starting in 7th place. He's going to have to fight his way through the field. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. That'll also put Zach Bache, I believe, in row 2. He was coming up through the field throughout race 1, so will he be able to make it happen yet again? Could today be the day Zach finally gets his first NSS win? Take a deep breath, run to the snack bar, get something to eat, get something to drink. While you're standing in line, make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that share button. Invite your friends and family. Doing good, Tina. How are you? Johnny, it was a great race. Martin, keep me posted, buddy. Martin, we'll even try and see if we can find some time to connect and race this week. All right, folks, here we go. Race number 2. The Minister of Defense, Mike Dolling, and Rudolf Gunther on the front row. Zach Bache and Andrew Lau have the second row. Yuho and Max Gunther on the third row. Giancarlo, Dylan Steinbach have the fourth row. The rookie Cale Evian and Nick Sorensen round out the top 10. Ryan McDaniel starting in 11th with Harry in 12th and Brian Hewitt rounding out the 13-car field here for race number 2 at Suzuka. Martin, they are a lot. These GT3 cars are a lot of fun to race. They can be a handful, though. And don't forget, folks, right after the NSS race, we will be switching over to join, for the first time ever, Home Motorsports GT4 League. Looking forward to seeing how their races go. Our first time getting to broadcast GT4 racing. That should be extremely fun. Pace car is in. Mike Dolling controls the start. They stack up and they are away. Green flag is in the air. They are down and away for race 2 at Suzuka, and Andrew Lau shot the gap into second. Rudolph Gunther trying to hold the outside. Zach Bache looks up as Yuo now has to battle with Max Gunther. Giancarlo lurking just behind. That top 7 invert does make things interesting going into race 2. Mike Dolling starting out front. They don't call him the Minister of Defense for nothing. He is going to be very, very tough to pass. Can Andrew Lau get the job done here? Top 7 all pretty much where they started. Except for Andrew Lau, who has shot up from 4th to 2nd in turn 1. Now sets his sights on the lead. Dylan Steinbach still sits in 8th. Harry Volsmir already up 3 spots into 9th, and he looks underneath Dylan. Onto the straightaway, that Mercedes power will come into play, but the Ferrari has the better run in there. 3 wide just ahead of him. Now back to 2 wide. Harry now up into 8th as Yuho goes a little bit wide, but holds on to it. A little bit of side-by-side as they went through the final chicane. Harry now has his sights set on Giancarlo. Nick Sorensen now trying to look down to the inside on Steinbach through 1. The Porsche has a massive advantage and finally completes the pass. Andrew Lau has taken the lead. He is out front for the first time today. Not for long. Here comes Dolling. It's going to be a side-by-side battle. Who can carry the momentum? And it is Andrew Lau as Dolling went a little bit off track. Dolling sends it deep into the hairpin, but Lau pulls it off. Giancarlo now battling with Rudolph Gunther. Rudolph holding him off for the moment. Harry Volsmir lurking just behind. Sorensen now up into 9th, trying to close in on that battle. Lau and Dolling battling up front, and Max Gunther is off track. He is going around. There is Max trying to get on the inside of Giancarlo. They come through that kink. A little contact. Sorry, that was Zach Bay she was trying to get to the inside of. Down through the hairpin, Max manages to keep moving forward. It looked like Max may have had another issue a moment later, but I am not seeing it. As he gets right up behind Yuo, has to get on the brakes, snaps around. Rudolf Gunther has also had a problem. Rudolf just gets on the brakes and snaps around. Manages to get the car rolling, but lost a lot of positions. Andrew Lau continues to lead. Mike Doling in second. Yuo in third. Just set the fastest lap so far in race 2. Zach Bay still holding on to fourth, but now Giancarlo is up to fifth. Harry Volsmir also on the move, up 6 spots into 6th. Nick Sorensen currently in 7th. Steinbach in 8th. Cale Evian in 9th, and Rudolf Gunther in 10th. Johnny, that is very highly likely from the look of it. Oh! Harry Volsmir just set the fastest lap now in race 2. Lap times do appear to be a little slower. Track temperature is now up to 82 degrees. So the track temperature has come up 11 degrees since the start of practice this morning. It is slowing down some of these lap times. Ryan McDaniel had a problem a moment ago. There's Ryan in that student driver Mercedes, gets off track into the sand. Then just swings wide through the grass as he was trying to set up for the turn. Andrew Lau and Mike Doling still have the top 2 spots, but Yuho in third, less than 2 seconds back and closing. Giancarlo is now taken fourth, moving Zach back into fifth. Harry Volsmir on the attack in sixth and has Sorensen right behind him. It is so easy through this first turn for drivers to overshoot that turn, not carry enough momentum out of it. First turn up into the S's is one of the trickiest parts of this track. Lau and Doling still out front, but Yuho now has the fastest lap of the race. And his 0.8 of a second back as Doling is going back on the attack. Doling has the outside through the kink, barely keeps it out of the sand. Lau manages to take advantage. Yuo is now right behind him. He's got Giancarlo with him. Zach Bay's just a little bit behind. May have gotten a tap there from Volsmir. Now it's a drag race into the left-hander, and it looks like Harry comes out ahead. Harry Volsmir now into 5th. Zach in 6th, has Sorensen in 7th. Steinbach in 8th. Andrew Lau has repeatedly held off the attack from Mike Doling, but with the cars back behind, Zach Bache has had a problem. He is towed to pit road. Coming down into the, looks like through the kink, and oh, the car just snapped. Oh! See if we can get another angle. Hopefully Zach is okay. The car just snapped. He almost had it, but then it was airborne when it hit the wall. And he landed on his roof. Zach has been moving up through the points all season long. Hopefully we see Zach back out on track before this is over, at least picking up some points. Richie, that was Zach Bache that took some flight. That was one heck of a wild ride for sure. Almost looked like, it reminded me of Ryan at Wednesday night at the Rock. Giancarlo now into 4th, has caught up to the top 3. Giancarlo swept at Daytona. He swept last week at Charlotte. Can he sweep again here this morning? He almost pulled off the sweep at Spa, winning race 1. And coming home 2nd in race 2 at Spa. We've seen Giancarlo go on these dominant, having these dominant seasons where it just wins race after race. Could this be another one? Harry Volsmir has gone to pit road. He had a problem a moment ago. There's Harry just ahead of Sorensen. Same place. Zach had trouble. Ouch. He manages to keep all 4 tires on the ground, slides it into the safer barrier, but does go to pit road for repairs. Lau did put a little space between him and Dowling. Now 1.2 seconds. Yuo in third, Giancarlo in fourth, nose to tail. Sorensen 3 seconds behind in fifth, is closing in on that lead pack. Steinbach back in seventh as Max Gunther and Rudolf Gunther in his mirror. The rookie Cale The rookie Cale Evian currently sits in ninth place. He has had a nice, consistent, quiet morning this morning. Oh! Into turn one, he drifts it through one. Wow. Lau did set the fastest lap last time by his lead, now 1.5 seconds. Mike Dowling, Yuho, Giancarlo nose to tail. Sorensen, meanwhile, just watching that gap close. Max Gunther has managed to take 6 from Dylan Steinbach. Rudolf Gunther back in 8th is closing in. Ryan McDaniel, meanwhile, has made his way into 10th, is having to defend Brian Hewitt, Harry Volsmere right behind. And Zach Beige is back out on track, currently in 13th as Giancarlo has gone to pit road. Looks like Giancarlo is going to take the opportunity to hit pit road. See if by changing the strategy up, if he can make something happen. And the rookie, Cale Evian, has had a problem. There goes Evian down. Oh, through that left-hand kink, just spins. Loses the back end. And Zach Beige has had a problem again. Through the right-hand kink, using every bit of the turtle, just slides it around, spins it. Does get the car recovered facing the right way. Cold tires have bit more than one driver today. Yeah, Richie, that really was. Ryan McDaniel has had a problem. And the student driver looks like coming up through the S's, just overshoots it. Brian Hewitt managing to slip by. Andrew Lau has extended his lead down to 2 minutes over Mike Dowling. Yuo still sitting in third. Sorensen at fourth. Now 2.2 seconds behind that lead battle. Giancarlo, after making his fuel stop, currently sitting in 8th place. Rudolph Gunther has been pushing the track limits all morning long, currently sitting in 7th after starting race 2 in 2nd place. Still managing to hold on to a top 10 run. Minutes left to go in race 2. Giancarlo, the only driver that has completed his scheduled stop. Was a huge surprise to see him on pit road so early, but he was stuck in that battle with the top 4, seeing if this strategy will pay off. Andrew Lau, Mike Dolling, and Yuho have to be wondering if, when they make their fuel stops, will they end up losing those positions? Giancarlo is in clean air back in 8th. However, he is 12 seconds behind Rudolph Gunther in 7th at the moment, but he is gaining rapidly on Rudolph. Meanwhile, looks like Andrew Lau, the leader, is about to be in lap traffic. He is closing the gap on currently 13th place, Zach Bache. Ryan McDaniel not far ahead in 12th, Brian Hewitt in 11th. Definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Don't forget, right after GT3 NSS, we will have, for the first time ever, a Home Motorsports GT4 Series. More road racing as they come to you this morning from Laguna Seca. Giancarlo has gained in 8th place, has gained 2 seconds now on 7th place, Rudolph Gunther, as the rookie is on pit road for his scheduled stop. Evian gives up 9th place. Zach moving over, lets the leaders get by clean. Sorensen, meanwhile, in 4th place, has caught up to the top 3. Max Gunther back in 5th, 5.5 seconds back from Sorensen, but he is also closing the gap. Harry Volsmir, despite early problems, has made his way now up into 9th. And Brian Hewitt has been quietly making his way through the field. He is now in 10th. Does look like Hewitt has had a little contact. The front end of that Porsche a little banged up, likely affecting the aero on that car. Evian is back off pit road. Andrew Lau's lead now 2.5 seconds over Dowling, Yuho, Sorensen. Max Gunther still about 5.25 seconds back and closing in. Steinbach back in 6th, Rudolf Gunther in 7th. Giancarlo in 8th, now just 8.6 seconds. Now 8.5 seconds behind Rudolph. Harry Volsmir in 9th, Brian Hewitt in 10th. Ryan McDaniel holding on to 11th despite issues early. The rookie Cale Evian Curley sits in 12th and Zach Beisch in 13th after that wild ride. Sorensen and Yuho still on the back bumper of the Minister of Defense. They have not made any significant attacks, likely hoping that they can make something happen on pit road. Or hoping that Dowling makes a mistake. Yuho look to the inside toward the chicane. Gutsy move there by Yuho. Looked like he almost had it. Yuho onto pit road. Mike Dowling, Nick Sorensen, and Andrew Lau all stay out. See if we can see what Yuho does on pit road. Will it be fuel only or will he take tires? It's looking like a fuel-only stop for Yuho. Giancarlo has gotten past him, now up into 7th. Giancarlo also only 7 seconds behind Rudolf Gunther. Since his pit stop, Giancarlo has been consistently faster than all the cars ahead of him, sometimes by over a second. Lau is going to have to push the car to the limits on fuel to make that pit stop as short as possible. Sorensen now on the bumper of Mike Dowling, trying to make something happen. The question is, does he have the speed to get past the Minister of Defense? Out of the chicane, he does lose a little bit of ground there. Max Gunther is on pit road. He is giving up 4th. And Dylan Steinbach is in giving up 5th. Rudolf Gunther is going to stay out. Giancarlo just 6 seconds behind Rudolph. Andrew Lau took second place, coming through, started at fourth, took second place in turn 1, lap 1. Finally got by Mike Doling a few laps later. Has led ever since. Now he has to hope his pit strategy will keep him out front, as Giancarlo was the first to pit, is now back into 5th place and is closing the gap on everybody ahead. Brian Hewitt gives up 9th. He is on pit road. Andrew Lau continues to stay out. Mike Dolan gives up 2nd. Nick Sorensen gives up 3rd. This could be the moment that everything changes. Rudolph Gunther currently holds 4th. He is going to stay out. Neither Mike Doling or Nick Sorensen takes tires. Giancarlo now to 3rd. He is less than 4 seconds behind Rudolph Gunther. 28.5 seconds behind the leader. The top 2 have not been to pit road. Also, so far, Giancarlo has had the fastest pit stop and has spent the least amount of time on pit road. Rudolph Gunther, currently sitting in 2nd place, does have lap traffic ahead. Brian McDaniel swings wide, lets 2nd place by. Andrew Lau has a 26-second lead over Rudolph at the moment. And don't look now, folks. Giancarlo is just 2.5 seconds out of 2nd place. Do the top 2 come in this time? The leader is on pit road. Lau needs a quick, perfect pit stop here. Rudolph Gunther in 2nd place, coming through the final chicane. Gunther is in. Giancarlo out of the final turn down the front straightaway. Lau is on his way off pit road. But Lau wasn't quick enough. Giancarlo to the lead. Andrew Lau now back in 2nd place. Has to find a way back up to the lead. Giancarlo's lead currently 3.5 seconds over Lau. Sorensen now in 3rd. Dawling in 4th, and Yuho in 5th. Max Gunther holds 6th. Harry Volsmir up 6 spots into 7th. Dylan Steinbach in 8th. Has Rudolf Gunther now in 9th on the bumper. Cale Evian currently running in 10th. Zach Beisch sitting in 11th. Ryan McDaniel in 12th. Brian Hewitt back in 13th. All the pit stops are completed. Giancarlo had the fastest time on pit road. Lau was only 0.4 of a second slower on pit road, but was on pit lane a full second longer than Giancarlo, which gave Giancarlo the lead and a bit of a gap. Yuho all over the back bumper of the Minister of Defense. Giancarlo's lead now 3.8 seconds over Andrew Lau. Nick Sorensen sitting in 3rd is trying. He is sending it. Trying to close that gap on 2nd place. Mike Dawling in 3rd, not far behind with Yuho right there as well. Max Gunther back in 6th is closing in on 4th and 5th place. Harry Volsmir in 7th, about 13 seconds back, but he is also closing in. Hey, good morning, Dustin. Dylan Steinbach has had a problem. There's Dylan in the Mercedes, one of only 2 Mercedes. Oh! Gets a bump from... Gets a bump from Gunther. Then they try to get back out on track together. Rudolf Gunther came out of that exchange currently in 8th. Dylan Steinbach now to 9th. Meanwhile, Giancarlo continues to extend his lead to 4.1 seconds over Lau. Sorensen in 3rd is about 5.6 seconds back. He is closing in. And looks like the rookie Evian has had a problem. We've seen it so many times through that kink this morning. The car just snaps loose. He tries to save it hard into the wall, and Rudolf Gunther has had a problem. A little bit wide through the on-corner exit. Wide again. Down into the hairpin. The back end just steps out. Richie, that was definitely another ouch. Hey, good morning, Russell. Yeah, that kink as you head toward the final chicane, if you get it wrong, it will bite in a big, big way. Mike Dolling still holds on to fourth, Yuho in fifth, and Max Gunther is now just 1.5 seconds behind. Andrew Lau in second place had led the majority of the first half of this race, only to lose it on pit road. Zach Bache is back on pit road. And Giancarlo has extended to a 4.9 second lead. Sorensen in third, still trying to reel in Andrew Lau, but 5 seconds behind. Mike Dolling sitting in fourth, still trying to keep Yuho in the mirror. Max Gunther lurking not far behind in sixth. Harry Volsmir back in seventh. Was gaining ground on the 3 cars ahead, but has now slipped back. It is now about 17.5 seconds back. Rudolf Gunther currently in 8th. Dylan Steinbach in 9th. Zach Bache, despite going flying, ended up on his lid, has gotten that car repaired, is back out, still running in the top 10. Giancarlo coming down through the final chicane. Just a few laps left to go here at Suzuka. Ryan McDaniel has had a problem. Ryan had Harry gaining on him as they come up through the, just came to the top of the S's, off into the dirt. Harry manages to get around him. Down through the hairpin, gets the car gathered back up. Looks like everything was okay. And then gets a bit of the grass, a bit more of the grass. And a lot more of the grass as he comes down into the left-hander. The car steps out under power, pulls a 360 and keeps going. Giancarlo's lead now 5.5 seconds over Lau. Sorensen in third. Doling in fourth. Max Gunther right on Doling's bumper. Yuho now back to sixth. The best battle on track. Here comes Max Gunther. Setting up for the outside into turn one. Can he hold Doling down? No, Doling slides up, cuts the run off. Yuho now falling back behind those two. Looks like the Lambo has given up a little bit of speed here late in the run. But Mike Doling may have his hands full now with Max Gunther. Meanwhile, Giancarlo continuing to extend his lead now 5.7 seconds over Andrew Lau. Max Gunther has gotten alongside Doling. Will he be able to hold it? Neither driver giving an inch here. Max goes a little wide, gets a little squirrely, doesn't lift. He stays on the power side by side. Yuho, meanwhile, back behind is closing in as it looks like Max has the nose ahead. The kink could decide it. Max backs out of it. Max tries to look back for a position here as they come through the chicane. Gutsy move by Max. Now Max looks to the inside for turn one. Does not have the run this time. Zach Bache is back on pit road unexpectedly. Looks like he may have had an issue a moment ago. Nick Sorensen in third was closing in on Lau, but has stalled about 5.7 seconds back. Meanwhile, Yuho is back in the fight with Doling and Max Gunther. Max on the attack again, gets to the outside through the hairpin. Now he has the inside as they go through the right-hander, but will be stuck on the outside if he can't clear. Now Max to the outside, goes wide. A drag race may come down to who Yuo pushes. Now Max has the nose ahead as they go off into the kink. Will either one of them give an inch? No! Max way wide through the kink. Still side by side into the chicane. Oh, a tap! Dolan goes around. Max saves it. Wow. White flag is in the air one more time. Let's see what happened to Dolan. Take a different angle on this battle through the chicane. They have been battling for half a lap. Just a light tap, but it was enough to send Dolan around. Ryan McDaniel also had a problem. Oh, Ryan off in the grass. Loses the back end, just cannot get the car gathered up. And it snaps loose yet again. Andrew Lau still sitting in second, but Giancarlo is out front. Just a few turns left for Giancarlo to get his third sweep of the season. Out of the final turn, Giancarlo does it again. He did it at Daytona. He did it at Charlotte. He does it here at Suzuka. His third sweep of the season. Andrew Lau fought hard for second. Nick Sorensen comes home in third. And let's see if we can talk to our top three, starting with Nick. Nick, that was definitely an eventful race, but you managed to come home in third.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Doug. Yeah, it's a good race there.
A lot more battling in a lot of unusual places that we don't generally see battling at Suzuka. Everybody, including yourself, battling for every inch of the track.
Yeah, it was tough today. It's just so easy to make a mistake here, and like in my first race, put you at the back of the pack. So the name of the game was to keep it safe, battle where you could, and yeah, glad to get third.
Well, man, great job today. Another great finish, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
Andrew Lau comes home in second. Andrew, you likely will maintain the points lead, but man, a rough morning, especially after dominating the first half of that race.
Yeah, but Giancarlo's just been on fire this season. I was suspecting he was going to be in front of me when we exited. I was hoping he would run out of fuel, but not the case today.
Have you considered poking holes in his tires or in his fuel line?
That's what I'm trying right now. It's not working. We did say we're going to put him in the Ford next season, so maybe we have a chance.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I would have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Well, man, still a great fight, a great run today. You come home in second, another great finish. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Good points today. Thanks, Doug.
It was. And finally, our winner with his third sweep of the season, Giancarlo, sweep number 3 of the season. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
Are you out of gas?
Sorry, go ahead.
I said, are you out of gas?
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. As soon as I passed the finish line, I was basically out of gas. It was very tight. I think I pitted really a lap too early, and I had to kind of save a little bit throughout the rest of the race.
It definitely did not seem that you were saving any, as before everybody else completed pit stops, you were charging forward. After pit stops, you were out front and pulling away.
Yeah, I was just trying to find, I was just trying to find some open air to just put in consistent laps, one after another. And there was a train in front of me, so I figured the best way to go about it was just pit as early as I could get away with, and try to just drive in clean air for a while.
Well, it definitely paid off today. Your third sweep of the season. You're good. Definitely going to close in on the points lead once your drop races are calculated. You may even take it. Is this going to be another one of those Giancarlo dominates the seasons?
It's always a long season, so who knows what the next races will have in store for us.
Well, next week, Alton Park. How are you feeling about that one?
I can't remember the last time I drove it in a GT3 car, so we'll figure it out as it comes.
Oh, great job. Another great sweep, man. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
Giancarlo gets the win, but folks, don't go anywhere. We will be back home motorsports GT4 racing in just a few moments. Ryan McDaniel said he is parking the student driver car back where he stole it from. Apparently it had a governor on it. I think if the governor had not been on it, your morning might have been worse, buddy. The lack of power probably saved you a time or two. Thank you guys so much. Don't go anywhere. Home Motorsports GT4 in Laguna Seca coming up in just a few moments. Stick around, everybody.